shockmonkeyradio is the cash tag if you want to send me money through Cash App, and you can follow me at social media over here. What's this? My left? My left? My right. Is that why, like, whenever I will see a TikTok, people always like have like it flipped, so that they know. Which side they're on. I guess that all makes sense now. Anyway, yeah. So follow me on social media, all that stuff. I'm not gonna sit there and say that my social media is great. Just if you look at my Twitter, it's like this guy's really obsessed with horses. Really doesn't like them. Yeah, you're right. He doesn't. All right. So I'll tell you a story.
A man named Jed?
No, it's not about a man named Jed. A few months ago, EK came to me and he says, "Look, bro, I would like for you to verify lump for me." And I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, I found this lump, and I just would like somebody to verify that it's a lump." And I think, to my credit, I actually really thought about this. I thought about doing it. And then I thought, it's like, if we were the last two dudes on Earth and there was no one else around, and my friend, the only other person on Earth, came to me and says, "Could you verify a lump?" I think I'd still say no. I'd still say no. First of all, if we find something, what are we going to do? It's like, go to a cancer treatment center? What are we going to do about it? No, there's no reason for me to fill you up, dude. And you know what? We aren't the last people on Earth. So you know what? Now it's time for you to go get a girlfriend. So he did. He went and met a girl. Started talking to a girl for a while like that. So we started having these conversations. Because he's like, you don't want to go on a first date with a girl. And it's like, "Oh, yeah, I'm a Leo. I'm a DJ, and I work, producing, internet podcasts and radio shows and stuff like that. And I'm looking for somebody to check my testicles for me." He's like, "You don't want to do that on a first date." So we started having these conversations. It's like, how many dates should you go on before you bring up this? Like, "Can you verify a lump for me?" And so I was thinking like a certain number of dates. You go out and a girl, and then you could say, "Could you do me a favor?" And I could also say, if you have sex, then I would say, then it's on. Then it's free to ask. But EK was a perfect gentleman, and he said, "Look, in 1 month, I'll ask her." So a month came and went, and I asked EK, I said, "Hey, did you ever get that thing checked out?" Because I'm concerned about his health, obviously. And he goes, "No, it turns out it just disappeared. It might have been a pimple for all I know." And I'm like, "Seriously, dude? Seriously?" And then, that's like, as soon as he said that, that's when the girlfriend poked his head around the corner and was like, "Well, I think you got something hanging on your nuts anyway." So anyway, so that's just a perfect example of why lying is sometimes a good thing. Are you offended, EK? No, he likes the story. He's probably going to tell his girlfriend later. But it's a good thing that EK will never ask me to verify something again. It reminds me of that time you got the dog bite. This fictional time that I thought of, that where you had a lump on your nuts. And it's like, it reminded me of when you got the dog bite, and you're like, I don't want to hear any more descriptions of what's going on your ass, dude. We're friends, but we're not that close, you know what I mean? And plus, I was thinking about that alternate future where it's a post-apocalyptic wasteland, and you come and ask me if, "Hey, I think I got a lump." And it's like, what are we going to do? Seriously, first of all, I would think it's a ruse. All right, I'm the only other human on Earth. I would think it's a ruse. All right, second of all, if we do find a lump, what are we going to do? Go to find an old power plant somewhere and have you dip your nuts in some of the water? The heavy waters? What are we going to do? Anyway. So, lying is also like flights of fancy of imagination. We'll talk about going into flights of fancy a little bit later. But first, I want to talk about how Pink Floyd was right. We brought visual aids today. Look at this picture, huh? Isn't that weird? Anyone remember that? That's from Pink Floyd, The Wall. I remember it's like having so many conversations with Pink Floyd, like about The Wall in particular. And they're like, "Oh, it's so good, man." It's like, yeah, there's a lot of great tracks that came out of it. Goodbye, Blue Sky, Mother, Empty Spaces. I forget that one. Run to the bedroom in the suitcase on the left. Find my favorite axe. It's great stuff. I mean, Roger Waters did a really good job in a lot of those tracks. But if you pay attention to who wrote like the last couple songs in the movie, you realize he had no idea how to end it. And so it's like, yeah. Pink Floyd, though, however, you know, is a very influential band, and a lot of people like it. And so I was thinking about the lyrics for Another Brick in the Wall Part 2, which is, I think I can summarize it real quickly. We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasm in the classroom. Hey, teachers, leave those kids alone. I think that's... Hey, teachers, don't leave those kids alone ad nauseum. And all in all, you are just another brick in a wall or something like that. Very simple lyrics, but, you know, how to start? I mean, I got to look up the lyrics now. Pink Floyd. I was so dismissive. Another brick in the wall. Lyrics. Holy cow. I feel like an idiot. I should have remembered by now. All right. We don't need no education. Yeah, you kind of do need some education. And so I think that's kind of what's interesting about, because, you know, this was written in the 70s. The Pink Floyd The Wall was written in the 70s, late 70s. And it's clearly about Roger Waters and the band's like experience growing up in those stuffy British schools, you know, and that's what, you know, they were talking about. It's like there's this one part is like, but in town it was well known when they got home at night, their fat and psychopathic wives would thrash them within inches of their lives. See, now my memory works perfect. The hell. So, I mean, it was kind of like a different time in many ways. And here you see this picture of this teacher figure shoving a bunch of kids into the school, which is a grinder and stuff, you know, pushing out all these, you know, widget people, I suppose. And so, no, we don't need no thought control. We don't, yeah. It was like, even then, even back in the 70s and stuff like that, people thought they were being brainwashed. And so, maybe in some cases they were, especially in places like England, you know, and arguably in the United States as well. So, I mean, yeah, humanity has always kind of been kind of nuts this way. So it's, and I remember I was talking to this guy about it, and it's like, you know, history is cyclical. It doesn't repeat. It rhymes as the spiral grows larger and larger. I forget the name of that theory about how civilization works and stuff like that. Systems become larger and more unwieldy and stuff like that. It's the lesson of the Tower of Babel in many ways. And so it's, but when you talk about like the nature of these four lines I'm talking about in a Pink Floyd song that is, you know, is arguably not one of the best songs on the album. It's like Goodbye Blue Sky is amazing. I love that song. Mother, do you think they'll try to break my balls? The sack it takes to put that in a song like that, you know, it's a love ballad that says my balls in it. And so, but these four lines, you know, even if it applied today, it's like, we don't need no education. We certainly don't need that kind of education. So it kind of applies today. We don't need no thought control. It's like, yeah, you don't need thought control, especially when you're talking about like, you know, it's like gender is a fluid spectrum, you know, and you could be anything you want along this fluid spectrum. You can make up any identity you want on this fluid spectrum, you know. That's thought control. If they're trying to force nonsense, force lies down your throat, and like punishing anybody who goes against it, that is thought control. Okay? Dark sarcasm, like everyone knows that you know, white people, you know, they're the patriarchy, they're the colonizers, they're the slavers, they're the baddest people that ever walked the earth because of their white skin. All right? And what does every single white person in that classroom feel? That we don't need any dark sarcasm in the classroom. You know, teachers, leave those kids alone. And I think that's the point. That's the point of this thing. This is a point of this rant, and this is the point of people who are so mad at educators today. Hey, teachers, leave those kids alone. All right? You're filling their heads up with a bunch of nonsense, and then they come out at 18 years old not wanting to work, You know, not being able to do basic math, not being able to sign anything in cursive. You know what I mean? They're not learning anything because all you're doing these days is seeming to me is teaching them how to be little protesters, how to be little Instagram influencers, and little activists for your crazy Marxist causes. Hey, teachers, leave those kids alone. You know what? People always make these jokes about Catholic priests, you know, diddling kids and stuff like that. But you know, the rate of teachers messing with kids in schools, in educational facilities, is way higher than it ever was in the clergy. So hey, teachers, leave us kids alone. /end rant. I need to wet my whistle after ranting like that. You know, somebody said, it's like, you know what I should do is, like, I should go through one of your live streams and count how many times you touch your nose or take a drink of water. And I feel like I'm in a quest giver in a newbie zone. And I'll give you 3 copper for that ridiculous task. You know, what do you want from me? It's like, if you want to do that, that's your stupid quest. It's like, what do you want? Like a partnership? Can I get on your show if I count how many times you touch your nose? It's like, oh, you better keep track, buddy. How many times I'm gonna drink? Oh, what kind of idiot does something like that? Enjoy it, you know. Enjoy it. So yeah, I mean, you should enjoy stuff that when you're watching something, even like this is my next rant here. I'm getting into when you're watching something, or even if you're reading a book. Because I noticed this the other day because I was watching Ben Shapiro, and my mind started wandering. He started going, and my mind just trying to drift off, and I'm start wondering about. I wonder what he does on Saturdays, and I wonder if he's like, you pull out comic books. I would pull out comic books, you know. Of course, you'd read the Torah. You'd read, you know, Bible. Spend some time with your family, making jokes, playing games with your kids. I get it. And then all of a sudden, then it changes to a news clip, and he shows this news clip, and I was like, oh, he was talking about something. And you're like, should I back up to find out what he was talking about? No. The answer is no. If your mind wanders while you're watching something, that's okay, because that's entertainment. All right, if you're reading something that you need to, like you're studying for a test or something, and your mind wanders, you probably need to go back and read it, because you know you're going to need that information for the test. But if you're reading for enjoyment, or you're consuming, you know, media for enjoyment, and your mind wanders in the middle of it, there's really no reason. Hey, it's a boring part of the movie, dude. You know, you can watch Game of Thrones and your mind will wander all throughout that thing. Because you'll be watching some boring scene of these chicks talking in a rose garden or something like that, and you're like, oh God, where are these dire wolves? I want like a bunch of dire wolves to come and murder all these chicks in this garden. And that's what happens in guys' imaginations at those parts in like Game of Thrones. It's okay to let your mind wander when you're absorbing media, especially even my media. I don't care. It's like, that man's being boring. He's going off again about religion or something. I don't know. It's okay. And I think it's kind of a very interesting concept that human beings can do this. It's like, because I remember even as a kid, I'd be reading a book and my mind would wander. I'd still be reading the words, but my mind would wander. And it's kind of interesting. I wouldn't be able to remember the way I can when I actively read, but I would still say I'd read it. And eventually, EK's nodding. He's like, okay, I'm not alone. I don't, exactly okay, I'm not alone in this. It's not a superpower I have. We all can do this, I think. And so, I mean, it's okay if you do that. It's bad if you're in school studying for a test.
It's like you stopped reading the words and you just looked at them all.
Yeah, he stopped reading them. He just looked at them all. It's like, did you do that? Did you even read the book? Well, I looked at all the words. It's like, you know, even somebody who's illiterate could do that. You know, I mean, I went through and looked at every single one. Couldn't make any of them out. Wait, there's one character that had my name. And, and I thought he was probably the coolest character in the book, even though I didn't know anything he was saying or doing. So
I knew it was him when he was talking.
Yeah, I knew it was him talking. So it's okay if that happens. All right. I don't know. It's like it's hard for people to believe. It's like I forget who I was talking to. I think I was talking about a movie, and it's like I don't even remember that part in the movie. It's like, is you serious? That was like an awesome part, and they're like, my mind wandered. I like to think my own thoughts, and it's okay. It's okay, even if you're like mad at him. It's like I want to talk about the specific moment with you because of like who you are or whatever. You missed it. We were in the same theater, dude. Yeah, how'd you miss this?
You were sitting right there.
Well, it's funny because I saw a Babylon Bee article that says like wife asks husband for the 50th time is like, oh, that's the good guy, right? During a movie or during a series. And I guess it's like a joke, I guess arguably a mildly sexist joke, but I mean, everybody's mind wanders, when they're watching, entertaining media. And that's okay. All right, stop getting mad at people for I'm sorry, I blacked out. I was just in my own world. I was in the chocolate factory. I was in my little candy land, you know what I mean? And so I mean, you gotta stop being mad at people because entertainment is meant to be that way. Amusement means without thinking. And so if you're watching something for the purposes of entertainment, if it's something you need to learn for school, different story. But for the purposes of entertainment, you enjoy your comic book your way. All right? You want to read into all these and that means what's going to happen in the year. I think next year they're going to have this thing with a new character. This was coming up of an old character, reimagination of an old character. And it's like, enjoy comic books your way. All right, it's the same as baseball with Ben Shapiro. It's like Ben Shapiro doing all this. Like I love crunching the numbers every baseball game. Like doing the scorecard. It's like, dude, have a beer and a hot dog and relax. You enjoy baseball your way. I'll enjoy baseball my way. You enjoy your comic books your way, your movies, all that. That's okay. Let your mind wander. All right. Do I need to like jingle my keys or something to get your attention? Hello, come back.
I'm here. I'm listening to you.
There you go. There, I just caught the entire boomer generation right there. Oh, I'm mean today. I'm mean today. All right. So I watched the Tucker interview with Andrew Tate. This guy. And he how can I put this?
He looks like a cancer patient you don't feel bad for.
Yeah, he feels like a cancer patient you don't feel bad for, is what EK says. He looks like Mac going in a wheelchair, trying to get an audience with Bon Jovi, claiming he has cancer. Anyway, so I saw this Tucker interview with Andrew Tate, and it's funny because Tucker, does it seem like he's more ubiquitous than before now that he's been fired from Fox? What a mistake, Fox. What a mistake. Because he's everywhere now. I don't know if you keep up with like what's going on in conservative circles, but Tucker Carlson like basically ending Mike Pence's run, and poor Mike Pence. Excuse me. The problem with that poor guy is a problem. I like what the kids might say. He has zero riz, and and that's just Mike Pence's problem. And as a person with more riz than Mike Pence, I think I'm understanding this context correctly. Am I? I don't know.
All I know is that I got more riz than there is.
But I know I have more riz than what's his name? Mike Pence. You forget his name. And that's not a good thing. I have 139 subscribers or whatever like that. Dude, you were the vice president of the United States. You should have more charisma than this guy. All right? And so I just feel bad for him because he's probably a nice enough guy and everything like that, but he's just got no chops when it comes to, anyway. But Tucker, when he interviewed Andrew Tate, the first thing I noticed that really upset me, that really set me off, like right at the first outbreak, is I couldn't find a picture, but neither of them were wearing socks with their shoes.
Why?
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just a Romanian thing or a D-bag thing, but I kind of lost a little respect for Tucker Carlson because of it. But I mean, he's been, soaring lately, so it doesn't really matter that much. And so But I mean, it's just something that really bothered me. It's like, you guys and your nasty ass feet. You know, what do you wash your shoes? You would have to. You would have to. Anyway, it's such a weird thing to get angry about, especially when there's all this other stuff going on with this Andrew Tate fella. All right. Now, here's the thing about Andrew Tate. I never liked him. Just look at him. He looks like a kind of guy I'm not going to like. And the more I learn about him, the more I realize I do not like him. All right. And a lot of people are listening to people like Andrew Tate, especially young men. And I think that that's a mistake for those young men to be listening to Andrew Tate. All right. A lot of people want to put people like Andrew Tate and Jordan Peterson and Matt Walsh and stuff like that into the same category. But this guy does not belong in that category. All right. I think that Andrew Tate has a correct perception of the world. I think he sees the world accurately, but his reaction to it is incredibly immoral. All right. He may often give good advice sometimes to young men who are seeking answers, but that doesn't mean you should emulate this guy in any way. Like in this interview, he talked about this guy who he talked to, said he wanted to kill himself. And so Andrew Tate said, get a six-pack first, and then you can do whatever you want. Guess what? The guy got close to having a six-pack, probably got a girlfriend, and felt better about life. That's good advice, surface level advice. All right? But when you go deeper on this guy, he's not the kind of person you want to emulate. You know, a man should not be this materialistic, should not be this promiscuous. All right? The idea that what men should work for is money and success in business and big dollar deals and getting that paper, you know, banging a different chick every night of the week. That's what you could driving your Lamborghini around town, around Vegas, throwing $100 bills up in the air at a craps table. All right? Yeah, 20-something-year-old guys have those kinds of fantasies, but it's not what men's objectives should be. Men's objectives should be to find one woman you really like, seduce her, fall in love with her, have her fall in love with you, and create a family and be a monogamous family unit to grow little moral people like yourselves as you continue to perfect your own morality. And all that is far more important than the money and the cigars and the fast cars and all the strange you're going to be getting. All right? Because those are immature goals. Those are immature goals that men have. Selfish men have. Men belong partnered monogamously with women just as much as women are meant to be monogamously partnered with men. All right? Andrew Tate's perception of women in the sense that it's like, okay, you guys have no respect for yourselves. You're going to treat yourself like whores. I'm going to treat you like a whore. That's wrong. A gentleman, a proper moral man, despite the immorality of the women he's talking to, so you don't say something more like, you should have more respect for yourself. Because and that's what you do is you extend them that respect. And maybe they can start respecting themselves in a way. Instead of just trying to live in this chaotic, screwed up world we're in, try to change it for the better. That's what moral men do. That's what heroes do. And when it comes to people like Andrew Tate, I'd rather listen to Jordan Peterson tell young men to like, be the superhero you always wanted to be when you were a kid. Do the right and moral thing in every situation. Yes, being healthy and in shape is a good thing. Yes, having a good job and being a good provider for your family is a good thing. But you could be the force for good in the world. Otherwise, you're going to be a force for evil. And this is where selfishness leads you towards evil, towards crimes. And I'm sorry, when you're like hooking up with a girl and then romancing her for a while, getting her to love you, and then talking her into being a cam girl, that's what pimps do. You're an immoral man, Andrew Tate, and I can't stand looking at your face anymore. I'm done with this rant. I gotta keep drinking this water. It's so salty around here. It's all in my mouth. So we're gonna do one movie review. So clearly you can see I wasn't lazy this week with my writing. Oh, he's doing 3 movie reviews. He must be lazy. We're gonna be talking about this movie, Youth in Revolt. Michael Cera flick. A little skeeved out here. Michael Cera flick, and it's a story about bad boys and girls, bad girls and bad boys. So Michael Cera is this typical like teenage, like late teens boy, you know, virgin. Starts out, the very first scene is him touching himself. It's not like up close, but you know, it's very much implied what he's doing with the sound and everything. Great sound design, and the Oscar for the best sound design, 2010. Oh, that really sounds like masturbation. But he's that typical like horny virgin, like 18-year-old, goofy looking 18-year-old guy who's so, you know, the testosterone's really pumping. You want to get with chicks, and you know it all goes bad. He frequently goes bad. And so what I really liked about what really hooked me in this movie was the very beginning is that these 3 sailors come up to his house. He's looking for his dad, and Michael Cera's dad is Zach Galifianakis. And they're there, they're pissed because his dad sold them a car that like was a lemon. So they wanted their money back. And I caught my eye when I first saw this movie because the guy who's doing, the sailor that's doing most of the talking was a radioman first class. It's 2010, so he's probably in IT at that point. And they were wearing their whites, and I remember the whites that I know there's the ice cream man kind of look to them, but they really were comfortable in summer. They really were, and they look pretty sharp. Their uniforms look pretty sharp, and so I was like, "Oh, okay, I'm in on this movie," even though it's just a little bit in the beginning for first act. And so these sailors spray paint "Pay us now" or something like that on their car, and so, and so Michael Cera and his family, they go to this cabin by the lake in this like little campground community and stuff like that for a little while to lay low. And so and up there he meets this girl and has a couple of like interesting conversations with her, likes her, finds out her parents like really religious and stuff like that, but he's, you know, she's cute, and they have this kind of like cute little like meet cute thing, and that's fine, you know, it's because it kind of drives the entire plot in many ways. And then eventually Michael Cera and his family return home, and the car's missing. They go in the front door, and the car is in the living room. And Zach Galifianakis had a great line as he starts immediately like looking at the car, looking over everything, starts it up, it's working, and he's like, and so he's like, she comes in and is like, did they reassemble the whole car, like take apart the entire car, put it in the house and reassemble it? And Zach Galifianakis is like, yep, that's exactly what they did. And she goes, how could they do that? How could 3 guys do that? And it's like, and Zach Galifianakis said, it was something like, it wasn't 3 guys, honey. It was a Navy. It was a Navy. And so that had me in this movie, that very first bit. And so Michael Cera, you know, he starts like talking with this girl. Her family's like real religious. And so she tells him something like, you got to start being a bad boy or else I'm not going to like you. And she's like enamored with France. I want to go to Paris and, you know, get burned to death in the streets or something. I don't know. It's 2010. It wasn't like that then. So, I mean, and so Michael Cera invents this alternate personality named Francois, and he's got the mustache and he smokes cigarettes. You know, it's like I don't know, a prequel to Me, Myself, and Irene, you know. And so it's he invents this character to be the bad boy, and boy is he bad. All right, I'm not going to spoil it. I know I have a habit of doing that. I know I spoiled City Island. Sorry, I should have said spoilers at the beginning, but he is bad. All right, and like serious law in the trouble, bad, just to get with this girl. And this particular scene is when he meets up with the girl at her like Christian school or whatever that she was sent to, because she kept getting in trouble too, you know. So she's a bad girl, he's a bad boy. He wasn't a bad boy, but for this girl, he's going to be one. And so this scene, they did this frequently in the movie, is Michael Cera, this is him in the actual, what he's doing. And Francois is this consciousness that tells him what to do or sometimes speaks on for his, you know, on behalf. on his behalf. In that scene, he tells him to like get up and go lay in bed with her. And he's like, you think that other guy she's talking to would be laying here on the floor? So like he goads himself into like going up there and talking to her. He goes, it's like, ooh, he has this line. It's like, I want to tickle your belly button from the inside. And it works, for a moment. And then, disastrous hilarity ensues after that. And it really is a kind of a dark flick in many ways. And so because they are really bad, and it's a good idea. If a girl wants you to be bad, you should probably not see her ever again. But unfortunately, you're a horny young man, and so there you go. Also, there's a cameo from Justin Long. You might remember him. And when I saw him in this movie, it reminded me of all the great little bit parts he's had in movies. The first thing that pops in my head, of course, is Galaxy Quest, where he's the guy who's like, I would just want you to know I'm not a total brain case, okay? I know it's just a show. It's like, it's all real. Oh, I knew it. He had these great little bit parts. What was another one I was thinking of? Zach and Miri make a porno. He goes, oh, you're an actor? It's like, what movies have you done? Shut your filthy mouth or I'm going to fuck it. Excuse me? That's the name of the movie. Shut your filthy mouth or I'm going to fuck it. Oh, okay. So what kind of movies are they like? Avant-garde? It's like, yeah, they're movies with all male casts. Oh, you mean like Glengarry Glen Ross? More like Glenn blows Gary as Gary and Ross watch. Excuse me, are you talking about gay porn? And Justin Long also had a little bit part. He plays this guy's girlfriend's older brother, who comes back and he drugs his parents. He said I'm going to make dinner, and he gave him an appetizer of stuffed mushrooms. They're tripping balls on mushrooms, and then they have this like they hanging out with the family, getting high with their Christian family, and more hilarity ensues. I don't want to ruin the end because it's an okay ending. I don't like the idea of I think he should have learned his lesson. Is like, you need to stay away from chicks like that, dude. If they, it's like that episode of Scrubs where he's dating that girl that wants drama all the time, and he accidentally breaks the table, and she goes like, because she just broke up with him or something like that. She's like, did you break the table because you're so mad? And he goes, yes, I did. And then she jumps his bones, right? Because that's what made her hot. It's like, I know it's interesting because it is an early, like, teen movie, like 17 to 20s is a good era for somebody who's a kid to watch this movie. That's who it's like aimed at. But somebody who's over like 25 or something like that, you need to know is like, you start learning through experience. There's lots of kids in juvie that are in there just trying to get a whiff of trim. You know what I mean? And so you got to understand, it's like, it's really something that a more mature man would know. Is like, you want me to do what? It's like, yeah, I'll kiss you if you break into that store. I'm going to take you on home. You're nothing but trouble. You're nothing but trouble. Anyway, let's get into this. Holy cow, 2:37. We got to get into the news. News worth knowing. I've been ranting too long. We'll go quickly. So an IRS agent known as Whistleblower X's opening statement is revealed. So I'm going to go through this quickly. Two whistleblowers who allege the Justice Department politically interfered with the investigation into President Biden's youngest son, Hunter. They will testify at Congress today at 1 p.m. So I haven't been able to keep up with the news. I've been too busy ranting about, my wandering mind. There I go again. All right. So a 13-year special agent from the IRS whose identity will be revealed for the first time during the hearing, and a former investigation supervisor, Greg Shapley. According to the opening statement released ahead of the hearing, the unidentified official intends to describe himself as a whistleblower compelled to disclose the truth and shed light on the shadow that looms over our federal legal system. It went on, this is all quotes. I have witnessed the corrosion of ethical standards and the abuse of power that threaten our nation. It is within this context that I've chosen to shed light on these actions and expose those responsible. I recognize that while I was present at the start of this investigation and was closely involved in the investigation for roughly 5 years, that I'm just part of the story. The opening statement continued. My aim is to address systematic problems that have allowed misconduct to flourish. It is not a call for blame, but a time for accountability and reform. We could throw some blame in there. So I'm going to do a quick refresh. Oh, no. I did the wrong thing. All right. Let's go back to the home here. So obviously, I think that a lot of us know that Hunter's been protected for a long time. I mean, from the laptop to the pictures to cocaine being found at the White House. You know what I mean? And so hopefully there's going to be some people within the deep state that start to change things for the better. That way, you know, some of you can retain a job once the house gets cleaned, you know what I mean? Anyway, so yeah, the hearing's underway. I'm not, short of like going and watching the footage right now, you know, I see it up here in the top right corner. I was like, I don't want to do that because that stuff's boring. And I don't want to watch Fox News. It's so boring. Tucker's gone. Who would watch Fox News? I read Fox News. So, in the interest of moving quickly, we'll go on to the next story. So maybe something good is going to come out of all this. I don't know. I think the culture's shifting. I think the culture's shifting for the good, for the better, I think. All right. So, mom of a U.S. soldier who crossed into North Korea says, I can't see Travis doing anything like that. Have you heard of this story? The mother of Army Private Travis King, American soldier who remains detained in North Korea Wednesday after crossing into the country during the tour of the DMZ, reportedly has said, I can't see Travis doing anything like that. Claudine Gates of Racine, Wisconsin, who was identified by ABC News as a 23-year-old's mom, also was quoted as saying that the network that she last heard from him a few days ago when he was returning to Fort Bliss in Texas, now just wants him to come home. North Korea is remaining silent Wednesday about the status of King, whom an Army spokesperson told Fox News joined the armed services in January 2021 and is currently a cavalry scout with the 4th Infantry Division. A New Zealand woman who says she was on the same tour as King on Tuesday told One News, suddenly I noticed a guy running, dressed in black, in what looked like full gas towards the North Korean side. What an idiot. What are you doing, dude? Sarah Leslie said the incident happened while the group was milling around in the Korean border village of Panmunjom under the watch of soldiers and initially thought King, who was dressed in civilian clothing, was performing a TikTok video, according to One News. Oh, Lord, if only. But then he just kept going and didn't stop, Leslie said. New Zealand Network says soldiers then chased after King while the tour group was escorted into a building. Everyone was kind of flipping their lid. You don't say! Once we got into the building, it's kind of like, oh my God, Leslie told One News. U.S. Forces Korea spokesperson said King was on a joint security area orientation tour when he willfully and without authorization crossed into the military demarcation line into the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. We believe he is currently in DPRK custody, and we are working with the KPA, Korean People's Army, counterparts to resolve this incident. The spokesperson added, just don't cross the border. Take this idiot back. It's like, what kind of moron runs to this country? The incident happened following after King just finished 2 months in South Korean detention facility, following a physical altercation with locals. Oh, Lord. A senior defense official told Fox News on Tuesday. Throughout the time he was held at the facility, he made comments that he did not want to come back to America, according to the official. King was eventually released on July 10th and was being sent home Monday to Fort Bliss, where he could have faced additional military discipline and discharge from the service, the Associated Press reports. What a jackass. Why would you not want to go back to America? You could have started a war. I mean, hopefully North Korea is not going to start a war of one American jackass. Ugh. People wonder why we got a bad rep all over the world. You know. Anyway, let's go on to the next story. So let's talk about Charles Barkley, because Charles Barkley went on a rant apparently last week about rednecks and a-holes. All right, so I'm going to read, because this article had it backwards. because it starts with this video that got leaked of Charles Barkley. I don't know, leaked or put out of Charles Barkley. And he says this thing is at a bar or something like that. He's like, I'm going to buy some drinks for y'all. I'm going to buy Bud Light. And I'm going to tell y'all something. All you rednecks or a-holes who don't want to drink Bud Light, F y'all. Hey, y'all can't cancel me. All right. Who could? I'm worried about being canceled. Because let me tell you something. Y'all fire me and give me all that money. I'm going to play golf every effing day. You probably already do. As I said last night, if you're gay, God bless you. If you're trans, God bless you. I'm okay with that. If you have a problem with them, F you. All right, so Charles Barkley, that video of Charles Barkley came out. So the response of Jonathan Isaac, an NBA forward who plays for the Orlando Magic, spoke out on Tuesday after Charles Barkley's rant in support of the LGBTQ community, and it went viral. All right, I already read Barkley's comments. So, quote, what does this even mean? No one with human decency. This is a Jonathan Isaac saying. What does this even mean? No one with human decency want trans or gay people dead or without rights. God bless them all. But it's 1,000% valid as a parent or adult to be concerned about the observable movement to influence children. Is that hateful? He wrote. It's insane that in order to be the primary influence on your children, you have to go to war against influencers, the media, movies, multi-million and billion-dollar corporations, and good people like Charles who choose to fall in line with empty politically correct statements and narratives. Nothing Charles said would get him canceled, and it's wild that he thinks it would. Correct. That's correct, Jonathan Isaac. Well played. Well played, sir. Nobody's going to cancel Charles Barkley. You know what I mean? Charles Barkley will always be Charles Barkley, and he has every right to state his opinion as well as I do, if you ask me. You know? And I think that Jonathan Isaac is right in the sense that it's like nobody wishes harm on these people. In fact, we kind of wish they would stop harming themselves. That would be really nice if you guys would stop harming yourselves. Because that's really the issue. That's really the issue. It's like you're hurting yourself by doing this. And they want to claim it's hate. They want to call us names like rednecks and a-holes. And we're not. We're not. We're just like, what are you doing? It's going to turn out bad for you. And God bless reasonable people all over this beloved planet. All right, so let's talk about these locked Walgreens in San Francisco. So a video shows San Francisco Walgreens chains freezer shut after shoplifters rob store 20 times a day. So footage of a San Francisco Walgreens shows the glass doors in the frozen food section chained shut after workers complained that the store gets robbed nearly 20 times a day. A video posted online by political commentator Richie Greenberg shows all the doors to frozen microwavable meals held shut by thick chains secured with several large metal locks. Another portion of the clip shows entire aisles locked behind plexiglass fixtures and floor-to-ceiling glass cabinets. Customers must go to store employees to unlock the display to buy many products, such as hair dye, makeup, shaving cream, and over-the-counter medicine. All right, here's the paragraph I wanted to get to, and then we can stop talking. Workers need to get to Coney Island. Workers told the local media that shoplifters clean out all the pizza and ice cream from their inventory every night. They say thieves hit the store and fill their bags with stolen goods 20 times a day. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not surprising that, these businesses are having to do this. Lots of stores are closing. And the reason why they close is because laws are not being enforced in the areas that the stores are operating. And if laws are not being enforced in the areas the stores are operating, the businesses are just going to go away. That's how cities become empty. All right? If the lawless rule the streets, then there's no commerce to be had. It's kind of like there's too many pirates in the ocean. You know what I mean? And so you need to put a stop to this before you have to run with a fleet of first rates, cannons to the rail, just to protect a cargo shipment getting across the ocean, because the lawless will, will start taking over the seas. Anyway, Barbary Coast. Hello. It's history. It's science. All right, let's get into these last two stories that are a little bit more, I don't know, lighter, more fun. Not going to stop being salty. There's going to be a little bit of salt. All right, but so TikTok video detailing relationship, quote, performance improvement plans work has experts sounding off. All right, so a woman on TikTok shared a video earlier this year about how she placed her boyfriend on a, quote, performance improvement plan, and then the move reportedly turned their relationship around. But relationship experts are sounding alarms as a 58-second clip continues to get views. Nadine Hui, H-U-I, a San Francisco-based TikTok user who appears to provide relationship commentaries and tips, turned to the video sharing app, and she said she successfully pipped her boyfriend. PIP, Performance Improvement Plan. Much like employers do before they consider terminating a worker. Wow. Quote, my boyfriend and I were having a lot of issues in the beginning. Hui explained in the video. Ultimately, I felt like we weren't compatible even though we had a lot of love for each other. So as a last straw, we decided to do a performance improvement plan. While we didn't get specific about the issues that she and her boyfriend faced, she said a lot of them happened because of lifestyle differences. She told her TikTok followers that her boyfriend is an engineer and he kind of liked having documentation they could both look back on. Oh, Lord. Beta. The performance improvement plan, according to Hui, involves sharing a note that listed daily and weekly tasks, notes on what her boyfriend needed to work on, and outline on the division of household chores, and weekly retrospectives where they checked in on how they were doing. In a follow-up TikTok video, we said the review period happened 3 months into the relationship, and now they've been together for 3 years. Beta. Fox News Digital reached out for comment. Hui's pipped my boyfriend video has generated over 270,000 views, and relationship experts are divided on whether the term should be used in the dating world. So I'm just going to read these headlines here. Don't make partner probation a punishment. Yeah, we're going to take a break. No, you break up or don't. Ultimatums rarely work in relationships. That's correct. Learn to speak up sooner. Yeah, you can't let the sun set on your anger. You know. Partner probation. That's such a ridiculous thing. You break up or don't. Look, if you start giving me tasks, you're going to give me a little star on my chart. We'll put up on the wall. I'm not your child. You're not a therapist, and you're not a client. I'm not a client of yours. All right. You know, you want to divvy up the household labor? You know, we'll do it. Household labor should be done. Let's do it. Even if you do more, or sometimes I do more, you don't complain. Don't complain about stuff that needs to get done. You know what? I'm glad you spend all this time working on this spreadsheet about how you're going to, track my performance in our relationship. But we're done. I'm breaking up with you. You wasted your time. That's how a man reacts to that kind of nonsense. You know? When she starts stating, like, we need to make a checklist of your tasks. We need to talk about what you need to work on to be a better boyfriend. It's like, no. That's not how this works. That's not how this works at all. We're not playing this silly game. We're not putting our relationship pie graph or anything like that. We're not going to put it like a little chart. That's a ridiculous way to try to track how a relationship is. Like I said, a little salty. All right, last story. Bring up the pick, man. Massive 122-pound catfish caught in Tennessee breaks state record. Look at this guy. Oh, man from Tennessee broke blue catfish state record for the second time. The Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency, TWRA, confirmed that Mika Burkhart, this guy, 44 years old of Big Rock, Tennessee, beat his own record with a catfish that weighed at 122 pounds and 3 ounces. Burkhart caught the record-breaking catfish from the Barkley Reservoir in Stewart County, and it measured 57.5 inches in length. It's almost as long as me. 42.5 inches in girth, definitely about the same size as me. According to the press issue, it's basically a floating tube. Look at it.
Thing is enormous.
It is ridiculous. The only question is, how did they catch him? They explained that Burkhart caught the latest record breaker on Wednesday, June 28th, but the certification and official record process was officially completed on Tuesday, July 11th. Ooh, must have smelled bad by then. The whole situation with this fish has been so amazing. It's hard to put into words how I feel. He wrote, Burkhart wrote to Fox News Digital in a Facebook message on Friday. The attention has been a little overwhelming, but I take it one day at a time, he continued. Burkhart's current record catfish outweighed the 118 blue catfish he caught from Barkley Reservoir in September 2022, 4 pounds, 3 ounces. By 4 pounds and 3 ounces. Both Burkhart's record catfish were reportedly released, so they can be caught again. I'm definitely so grateful to the Lord that blessed me, not once but twice with a fish of a lifetime. Blue catfish, blah, blah, blah. It says nothing about his rig, what kind of test line he was using. What? Useless. World's largest catfish ever caught on record, 143 pounds. Lake Kerr Reservoir in between North Carolina and Virginia. I've been there. You know, if you know anything about fishing, catfish are the easiest, best fight to catch in water, like rivers and lakes and stuff like that. And this guy, the fight that it must have ensued when you're pulling in a 122-pound catfish. Congratulations to you, dude. Congratulations. Anyway, this is going to be the end of the show. I want to remind you again to go over to patreon.com/shockmonkeyradio. Become a patron today. You can send me money through Cash App, hashtag shockmonkeyradio, all one word. Follow me over here on social media. You can find them on the internet on your own. I also have books available for digital download. Search for the author Scott L. Robbins with 2 T's and 2 B's, or you can follow the links down in the description below. So this has been Shock Monkey Radio. I'm the Madman, and I love you.